Oh my god, you guys, seriously? Today we're totally gonna dance our pants off. Obviously, I don't speak like that, but it would be really fun if I did. I thought today I would give 4 tips for dancing like no one is watching, not choreographed dance, not trying to do good moves, just doing fun dancing. So there are several different names for it. There's freeform, ecstatic, journey dance, no lights, no lycra. There's another one, well, there's heaps of them, but I can't think of them. I actually like to call it living room dancing because it's basically like dancing like we did when we were kids in the living room. Just letting go, having fun, and not giving a care. So the reason I got into it is because in my 30s I stopped drinking alcohol and I noticed how much I missed dancing when I would go out drinking. And so yeah, I started doing, I think 5 rhythms was the first one that I tried, and I just fell in love with it and have been trying all the different types ever since. And now I'm so much more confident when I go out not drinking to just start dancing right away and not feel self-conscious about it. It's, yeah, been amazing. And the reason that I love it so much is because it's basically meditation, running, yoga, and dancing all in the one practice. If you come at it from that perspective, which I'm going to give you 4 tips today to do that. So yeah, with the running side of things, that happens when you're doing really high intensity dancing. So if you really get into, especially if you're doing hip movements, that can really release that runner's high and the endorphins, and yeah, it releases all the chemicals in the body. It feels like you're drunk, actually, and it's really fun. Doesn't always happen if you're doing sort of slower dancing, but then you get all the other benefits anyway. So the 4 tips, the first one is emotion. So dancing is actually a really healthy, helpful form of therapy. Studies are actually showing now that talk therapy alone isn't as effective as somatic therapies that actually get into the body, and there's some form of movement and connection with the emotions. So yeah, so just being aware when we start out how we're feeling, what our emotions are, whether we're angry, upset, whatever we're feeling, and just allowing that to be there. Setting the intention to release it, but not with the expectation of doing that, because we don't want to be pushing it away. We just want to be with it and basically use the emotion as our dance partner. We're going to dance with the emotion, and yeah, it's a really interesting experience. It can be really fun, and it feels really good when you really feel the emotions as you're moving and then you feel them release. The second tip is mindfulness. So we basically, like with meditation, we're just aware of our thoughts as we're moving. The thing that comes up a lot with dance, especially this kind of dancing, if we've not done it before, or if we're just in a bit of a negative mindset, there's lots of criticism and judgment. So we can be like, oh, I feel so silly, or I'm not doing it properly, or just being really judgmental of how we're moving. And the great part about that, just being aware of it, means that you just keep dancing, just keep doing it, and then that negative pattern loses its strength the more that we keep coming back to the music and just dancing and letting go of it. Yeah, it's really helpful. That's the part of the practice that really helps us dance like no one is watching, and release our inhibitions, and to not be restricted by those judgments and criticisms. So the third tip is using parts of the body to lead the movement. So we can start at the feet and go right up to the head. So we focus on, say, the feet and the toes and allow that to guide the movement. We can sort of roll our toes and feet around, whatever the music is doing, allow that to move the body parts as well. And you just notice, go up to the knees and then the hips, just noticing how the body moves differently when you're focusing on different areas of the body and letting it like lead. And so the elbows is one of my favorites. That brings in a whole different sort of movement. You got the wrists or the fingers, the shoulders, it's one of my faves, and the neck and the head. So depending on the music as well, but it's just a really good way to get into the body. And once you have focused on every part of the body, you can see how the body just moves more easily. It's a really good one if you're not really feeling like it that day, or if you're just starting out. I think I already said that. Anyway, the fourth and final tip is the music. So obviously choosing music that you really love, that makes you just want to move as soon as it comes on. You can alternate with sort of slower paced and faster paced music, especially in the beginning if you want to start out slow and do some yoga stretches. And when I say yoga stretches, if you don't do yoga, I just mean stretches. Like, yeah, just a bit of this. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Yeah, that's actually a really good way if you're not really feeling like moving to start out stretching. Yeah, and then eventually you can get into it a bit more. But yeah, using the music in the mindfulness practice as well, because the music can really help us get out of our head and into the body and just having fun. So they're the tips. Hopefully that helps, and hopefully you can have a little dance party all of your own at home. Have fun.